All right, so thank you so much for coming. I want to start with a quick exercise. If everyone would close their eyes and just consider, am I addicted to something? Or maybe is there something that I do compulsively that I don't want to do? Maybe it's checking your phone or some sort of snacking or anything that happens in your life that you know it's kind of a problem and kind of wish it wasn't there. Just consider what that might be. All right, now you can open your eyes. And congratulations, if your phone is off or on airplane mode, you definitely don't get to do that. And if it's something else, you don't get to do that either for the next 2 hours. So, great job. So, before I was a resident at the Monastic Academy, I was living in Southern California, and I moved to that area from Boston, which is where I went to undergrad. And I moved there with a couple friends, and I had a relationship that I was in with a woman that we sort of displaced from Boston to Los Angeles, and it didn't work out, and we ended up breaking up. And my friends that I was living with at the time thought of something that was going to heal me. It's going to heal my broken heart. And that was to go to Las Vegas for a weekend. And I said, honestly, I guess, okay, sure, whatever. I kind of trust you guys, or yeah, okay, great, let's do it. So, of course, in order to prepare for this trip to Las Vegas, I had to, I didn't have to, but I chose to, for the few of us that were going, go buy some illegal substances to take with us. And this was it turned out to be a very uncomfortable situation. I'll explain what happened. I went to the home of my acquaintance and hung out with him for a little bit and bought some drugs and got back in my car. And I was driving on the 101 South, and that's going southeast back to kind of northeast LA. And I must have had some sort of vibe coming off of my body that was coming out of the car. I mean, I was really nervous. I was definitely freaking out. And I had a deep knowing that what I was doing was not okay. And it wasn't okay with me. But that wasn't really coming to the surface because I was freaking out and I was kind of excited we were going to Vegas and I was really heartbroken and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, I look in my rearview mirror and there's a cop car flashing his lights behind me. Okay? So that cop maybe felt this vibe I was talking about. And I just thought at that time, my life is over. This is bad. Like, not even this is bad. It was basically like, my life is done. So kind of went through this 30-second stint of like, this sort of dark series of thoughts, like in the vein of my life is over. And towards the end of those 30 seconds, I actually realized that I should calm down. Just gonna like do whatever I can to like declench myself from the wheel and and just pull back and just be with the situation. And I looked back in my rearview mirror, and the cop was gone. So it's funny, I'm like picturing it now, and I have all these, like this nervous energy up here in my chest. I'm like, whoa, that was horrible. So after I realized that his lights had stopped, or their lights had stopped flashing, I felt really lucky, and I felt, I was kind of wondering, like, why am I getting away with this? And I think that question kind of came from that deep knowing I was talking about, that what I was doing was really not okay. And then I felt sad because I knew that I was actually lying to myself. I knew I didn't want to do what I was doing by going and purchasing something that would affect me probably negatively, and bring it on a trip that I found out I didn't want to go on eventually. Don't worry, we did eventually get to Las Vegas, and it was terrible, but it's another story for not another Dharma talk. So yeah, around that time, through college and through my life, when I was living in Southern California, I was battling with this lie that I should keep doing this to myself. I should keep going out and drinking on weekends, keep smoking, specifically marijuana. That's the thing that I had a really big problem with, I would say. And it's been really wonderful to be a resident of the training at the Monastic Academy for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that we're not allowed to do drugs there. We're not allowed to drink. And I said there, we're not allowed to do drugs there, but we're actually not allowed to do drugs or drink alcohol or anything like that anywhere while we're in the training. And it's interesting because I remember finding out, probably on the website, that you're not allowed to do those things while you're in the training. And I was kind of like, oh, take me. Like, I'll come there yeah, sure. And I just remember this feeling of like really wanting to get away from it. And I definitely considered slightly, trying to find a sober home or something like that. But my addiction to marijuana specifically wasn't so deep, I would say, that I couldn't get myself to not do it if someone said, here, you're here now, so you can't do this because no one else is doing it. I had tried to quit many times for good. I had taken many months off in between other months of smoking. And I had also been smoking for a while, and I just knew that I didn't want to be anymore. And yeah, as a resident, it's been a great joy to just not have that option in my life. It's just poof, gone. So If you have ever stayed at the Monastic Academy for a night, and you've done chanting with us in the morning, you may know that we chant what we call the 5 ethical precepts every morning. Or if you've sat a retreat or a Shinzen retreat with us. Oh, sorry, we don't do them at the Shinzen retreats. We chant these 5 ethical precepts every morning, and it's interesting how we frame the precepts, because the way we look at them and the way we look at chanting that is these are the 5 ethical precepts that we agree to uphold to the best of our ability in this training. And the precepts, we chant them in the Pali language, but they are to not kill. That's the first one, to not take life. The second one is to not take what is not freely given, to not steal. To not commit sexual misconduct. That's the fourth. And to not ingest substances that cloud the mind and cause heedlessness. That's the 5th precept. And so I've been reflecting on those lately, and I've just been questioning, how have I been? How have I been doing? And I think it was last weekend, I was driving into Burlington thinking about this, and I was like, oh, I've actually broken 4 out of 5 of them to some degree while I've been in the training. But the 5th one, I haven't broken at all. And then I actually realized, wow, I haven't really celebrated that at all. And I wonder if I could even celebrate it if I wanted to. I wonder if I would be good at doing that, because I feel like, good job, me, cool, great, wonderful, actually. So let's give me a round of applause for not breaking the precept. And a round of applause for all of you for not doing the thing that you said you might be addicted to at the beginning. Good. Great work. Wow. I feel so much more this room is alive. Good. So, one thing I wanted to touch on from this chanting of the 5 precepts is the way we frame it, like I was talking about. It entails us having to be honest with myself about if I break one of these precepts. The first one, I was driving in upstate New York since I've been in the training, and I killed a mouse. And I had to be honest with myself. I completely accidentally just ran over a mouse. I broke the first precept. Okay. And it actually, I find, is very empowering for the training to set us up like that, and for us, for our community to set ourselves up like that in this way of, if you mess it up, if you break the precept, be honest with yourself about it. Don't lie to yourself about it. But it's not like you're bad if you do that or something. I think the empowerment kind of comes from the allowance to, if it happens, it's okay. Just reflect on it and know that it happened, and know that next time you don't need to do that. Obviously, running over a mouse by accident is something hopefully I can't do next time. I don't know. We'll see. And I've been reflecting on also, in Buddhism, there's something called the 3 poisons. For any of you that know anything about Buddhism, there are a lot of lists in Buddhism. And the three poisons, I was doing a little research on them today and yesterday, and from what I gleaned, they are the mental states that lead to craving and that lead to basically having bad karma. Mental states and behaviors. Or from my experience, they're actually mental states that lead to behaviors. And they are greed, hatred, and delusion or ignorance. And I've been reflecting on like how those three poisons have fit or did fit into my life as someone who was a user, who used drugs. And I was trying to figure out exactly how to word the connection between the drug usage and the poisons and how they, how one sort of informed another. But the closest I can find is that the three poisons would sort of bind me to this kind of behavior where I would just keep going back to using time after time. And also I've been thinking back into my mind, getting back into the mind of me when I was high and seeing and hearing the thoughts and seeing the situations I was in where the poisons were coming up. And so basically, greed came up in this way of, let's say I was smoking with a friend and I was, after we finished, I was high or maybe not. I would usually have this thought that was like, I wonder if we can smoke more. I know it's not mine and like I want to save mine for later. And it would become this whole thing in my mind of like, can we smoke the rest of yours or can we smoke? And like I wouldn't be able to say it because like that's not what friendship is about. And then I would actually like get into this really icky mental place of like thinking those thoughts and like feeling like very disconnected from the person that I was with. And yeah, and in retrospect, it all looks and feels and sounds very gritty. It's really sad. And then actually I would also kind of take on those thoughts and be like, oh, I guess that's just me. I guess I'm greedy. Bummer. I had no idea. In terms of the hatred aspect, I remember getting high and going out into the city, going out into the world, and looking around, maybe going to a concert or a bar and just seeing people there and just being like let down. Just feeling like, oh, these people really aren't that great. Bummer. Nothing about this feels good. Like I'm trying to connect with these people and I'm like sort of like tired and like don't really actually like feel like I can because I'm high and then I do and it's like very shallow and I feel all this like, oh, this isn't even a good person. I don't even care. And then I would just look around whatever room I was in and be like, oh, I guess everyone's like this. Okay. And then leave completely unfulfilled. So really feeling that like pointless hatred for people that I didn't even know and that I would surround myself by on nights of weekends. And of course, the ignorance, the delusion came from this sense of, I could keep doing this. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm going to work on Monday mornings. I'm completing the work week on Friday evening. Working through the weekend some, yeah, but I'm functioning with it. It's all good. When my eyes are really red, I won't leave the apartment. It's fine. Da da da. All these excuses, basically, that led me to keep doing this. And yeah, it's sad to talk about these things and to reflect on these things, and simultaneously it's like really nice to think that I haven't done that in so long. It's really nice. And another thing that's been interesting in the training is seeing these addictive tendencies come up in the practice, in daily life. There's totally been times where I'm sitting and it's, what time is it? 5:45 in the morning. And I'm like, why do I want something that's on fire in my mouth right now? And I like sort of see, like, I definitely still have a kind of like mental, physical link of like putting something in my, and sort of seeing it too. And sometimes it comes with want, and sometimes it's actually, I just see it and feel it. There's sort of a weird energetic motion and a visual sort of, maybe I'm in the dark and there's just like something lit coming out of my mouth. And that used to be way harder, and I think I used to have a lot, I think that's because I used to have a lot more shame about this stuff. And I think for me, it's been hard not to, because, like I said, for me, I've discovered that this kind of endless chain of lying to myself in this delusion that it'll be okay, like eventually I'll stop for good and da-da-da, like, it was hard to see that I was holding the truth back, that I should just stop, just let it go. These days I experience these phenomena of like that kind of thought and feeling I was describing as they're happening. It's part of an old lifestyle that I was living in. And whether there's a form of wanting it or not, it's something that if I don't go and do it, and I can acknowledge that it's there, it actually feels really good to just let it be there, and then eventually it goes away, because that's what these things do. And a lot of this has, how do I put this? Even when I was in college, and I was like not too far into my years of using marijuana specifically, I knew that I wanted to be sober, actually. I didn't want to be doing it. I looked around and everyone around me was doing it. There were a lot of reasons I didn't stop then. I think mostly it was a social thing, and I think there was a sense of like I might lose friends if I stopped doing this around that time. But with that desire to be sober, I knew that I wanted my body to be back the way it was before I started smoking. I don't know what about it specifically I wanted to be different or to be like more pure or something, but I knew that there was a possibility that I could do that if I just gave up on it and just let it go. And I think now there's more of a sense of I am and I have been cultivating a friendship with my body exactly the way it is. And that's very heartening and very inspiring. And I owe a lot of it to the community, I feel, because everyone in the community of people that I live with and train with, they hold me accountable, and they're relying on me to not do this. And then I come to Burlington and I'm able to talk to many people in our community down here about it, and they're extremely supportive. It's something I really love talking about with them. And I want to share a poem when we start our practice. We'll start in a moment. That's been really inspiring me. And it's basically about how your body is your best friend. And when I think of my body in that way, when I see my body in that way, I don't want to hurt it. I don't see any reason to. And I am very happy and honored to share that joy of not hurting it with all of you this evening. So let's do some practice. So, this poem is by a woman named Monica Lind Hathaway, and for now you can turn your attention towards the poem, the sound of my voice. But if you're already in this zone of feeling your body, which is where we're going, then you can just go for it with that. If you wake up feeling low, unhappy and unappreciated, do yourself a favor. Brighten up to existence. Start with appreciating the wonders of your body. Attend to the beauty of its breathing, of how it's able to inhale oxygen and put it through its bloodstream, and use the best of it and exhale the waste that is not useful to its living. Carefully study its excrementitious nature, its genius, moment by moment, of using the food that enables it to reproduce the cellular system and ridding itself of that which would clog it. Praise it for its ability to use the liquids you give it, to drink by sending it to various organs and systems, using the life-giving vitamins and minerals and leaking out the waste matter that it doesn't need. Appreciate its intelligent handling of the solid food you put into it, how thoroughly it churns it through the systems and organs and uses the energy to feed all its cells and send out the waste matter in neat little piles or lumps. Appreciate its cleverness in leaking out excess liquid through the pores of its skin in the heat of the weather or the heat of the various motions you give it to perform. It knows how to stay cool. Praise it for shivering when it's cold to let you know its need for warmer clothes. Tell it how wonderful it is to know, to leak sad thoughts through your eyes and nose, so they can pass out of your space and give you room to feel happy in. Let it know how wondrous are its sense organs of sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and consciousness. The beauty of the nervous system that tells you the fire is likely to hurt. So please back off from it, and that you just got a thorn in its foot and that you should remove it before it festers and becomes a nuisance. Thank it for the gift of sight that shows you the beauty of forms and colors that grow or walk or crawl on the earth, and the wonder of the flight of birds in the sky. Thank it for the gift of being able to hear the varied sounds of the beings of this world, the birds, the insects, the animals, the fish, and the humans, the sound of the wind, the rain, and the thunder. Bless the powers of its elegant nose, the sense of smell that brings the fragrances of the flowers and the smell of sweat and the soap you clean it with, and the food you eat and drink and the excrement it rids itself of, the smells of others, humans, fish, birds, animals, and all other forms in the space. Praise its sense of touch that gives you the pleasant feel of the tender caress of your friend and your tender touch on the body of others and the warm touch of the sun on your face. Savor in its sense of taste as you dip its tongue into a strawberry ice cream cone or a ripe, juicy tomato or a glass of milk or other forms of food you choose to stimulate the taste buds. Bless it for its sense of consciousness, which choreographs events, using all the functions of the other five senses as its dancers. Bless the sense of consciousness for the genius of remembering events and even imagining places we have not yet traveled to and beings we have not yet seen. Embrace the wonder of its urge to reproduce its various forms and color as it moves through the raw, wild, ecstatic, passionate dance of creation. Now return to attending its breathing, the inhale and the exhale, and appreciate the peace and the calm of its steady flow. Appreciate this wondrous, beautiful physical being, your closest companion through your whole life and your best friend. You will never be lonely again, and you will never again seriously consider being the perpetrator of death for the body of another. Brighten up to existence. Appreciate the genius of the physical universe. So keeping this notion of your body as your best friend in mind, we'll move into a practice of feeling the sensations of your body, specifically feeling physical sensations. That could be anywhere from your clothes on your body to the heaviness of your legs sitting on the floor, your feet sitting on the floor. Feeling any pain or tightness or any relaxation that there might be in the body. And we're setting aside paying attention to any thoughts we might be having, setting aside any visual thoughts, auditory thoughts, things we're hearing, setting aside visual sensation if we open our eyes and see what's in front of us and the sounds of the room. Setting it all aside to feel our body exactly the way it feels. If you'd like, as you're doing this practice, you can use the label feel or feeling. You could say that to yourself in your mind as you are feeling the physical sensations that you're feeling. And if you do that, I encourage you to go at a moderate pace with a soft and gentle tone, something like feeling, 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 feeling. If you find yourself going into thinking and focusing on that, or paying attention to it, paying any of your attention to it, that's totally okay. Just come back to the physical body sensations as gently as possible. Everyone is doing excellent work right now. I'm going to introduce another subtle layer to the technique that we're doing, and you can choose to try it if you'd like. I invite you to, as you're feeling the physical sensations, how might you bring a sense of appreciation, a sense of love, a sense of friendship with these sensations exactly as they are? In a few moments, I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to move around the space, take a walk, get some water, use the restroom, whatever you need to do. And I want us to see if we can continue to pay attention to these sensations that we're feeling in our body, any physical sensations we're feeling, whether it's our feet walking across the floor, or if we're rolling our neck, feeling those sensations, stretching, anything like that. And can we cultivate or further cultivate appreciation for those feelings exactly as they are? Even if they're boring or dull or possibly painful. Let's just hold that question and see what we can do with it as we move into this short period of movement. All right. So sometimes I get frustrated, I would say, with the practice and concentrating on one thing. And I've found when I do this practice of feeling body sensations, I get frustrated when I find myself in thought and lost in these thoughts, whatever they are, stories I'm telling, the future, the past, etc. And recently I started doing something that I invite you to try. You definitely don't have to. I do find that it does help with the aspect of cultivating love for the experience I'm having of my body very efficiently, actually. And what it is I've been saying to myself, I am loved. And then drenching myself, dousing myself with attention to anywhere in my body or my entire body. Just throwing that attention on myself, on these physical sensations. Let's say for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, slow to moderate pace. And in those moments in between using the mantra, we can feel what's happening with the sense of appreciation that is stated in the mantra. So it goes like this. I am loved, feel. I am loved. I am loved. And I've found that if I do this for an extended period of time, there's at some point a sense of this experience, whatever it is, loving me. So try it out if you'd like. if you're trying out the mantra and it's helping, then you can keep going with it. And if you get to a place where it's helping so much that you don't need it anymore, or you're losing it because you're really focused on the body sensations, then feel free to carry on without it and continue to put your attention totally on body sensations. If you're having any trouble staying focused on physical sensations, then I invite you to do whatever you can to observe and appreciate that experience for exactly what it is. sit with that and then return to the focus space of your best friend, your body. Wonderful job, everyone. With our last few minutes of practice this evening, if you'd like, I invite you to cultivate gratitude for your body. You can thank your body for bringing you here tonight. Thank it for putting on a jacket and gloves and shoes and boots to get you here, at least somewhat warmly. You can thank it for feeding you breakfast, lunch, and maybe dinner. Thank it for this period of practice, for this past hour. And for all the joy that it gives you. And for all the joy that it gives to others and gives to the world. All right. Thanks, everyone, for participating. And thank you for your practice. For the next little while, we can take some time to ask questions. You can ask me questions, give me reports about your experience of the practice or of the talk. Tony?
I wasn't sure I was going to make it here. I'm really glad I did. I really liked your talk. It's something that in my life that I've dealt with myself. And it's something that I deal with almost really on a daily basis, is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've looked at a lot of different angles to separate myself from addiction, from needing to be attached. And I've delved into it a lot. And it's just like it's a journey. And I was thinking with your talk, about how, I was identifying with it a lot. I totally identify with everything that you said, for starters. I know what it's like to be doing something that you don't really want to be doing, and then keep doing it. And I know what it is to be free of that also. So I identified with your recovery as well. And you do, there is reason to celebrate that. There really is. I was experiencing something that when you were talking through, for me, through the sit, that was really interesting for me, and that was the relationship with my body. And, that's really key. For me, I often look like outside myself, like a relationship with something other than me, on a spiritual level. So that I can separate myself from having the power, okay? And it's kind of interesting. I had a very deep meditation with your guidance. And it was that shift from just, was like accepting exactly where I was. I was meditating that I don't need anything, that I have everything right here inside of me. I don't need to be grabbing for something from the outside to be okay. And I do that. I eat for emotional, I have body pain and, general life. And I eat to soothe my emotions, I put on like 8 pounds in the past 2 weeks because I've been feeling bad. I've had a cold. So, and I've had a lot of experience with, I've learned a lot of methods how to not be, to not stay sustained in that kind of a pattern where you're doing something over and over again, even though you don't want to do it. And certainly eating ice cream and goodies is one of the very least addictive things that I've been involved with. But still, it's still there, It's still there. So I'm glad to say that this meditation practice is giving me further understanding about the relationship with my body and how I can be freer and more compassionate to myself. That's like the direction I was going in. And that's really all I need to do and it's not complicated, you know. And so thank you. It was a really powerful instruction and and honest talk. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, you mentioned something about like this urge to chase what's outside of you, or to like go out and find what it is that will soothe whatever you might not be able to handle or something like that. And I can familiarize with the goodies, definitely. But yeah, I mean, a big draw to moving into the monastery was I kept finding that I was, like, I almost felt like I had hands that were coming out of other places of my body where there weren't hands. I was like chasing outside of me so much for other stuff. I was just like, all the time, everywhere I went. And I also saw that everyone around me was doing the same thing, basically. And I decided it would be a probably very healthy experiment to be in a place where that wasn't really possible, or like not as possible. Yeah, it's an interesting experiment. And it's definitely shown me lessons that I have brought here tonight, so yeah, worth it. Yeah, thanks, Tony.
First of all, is there somebody else? I didn't hear you talk, so I can't relate to that. But having heard the reference to it, it becomes interesting because my experience of the meditation was at the end to move into an experience of seeing disrespect. To say, I love myself, or I love you, meaning me, sending myself love. I continue to experience a memory of a recent experience of disrespect, and that I had to digest that, and I hadn't completely done that, and it was important. And what I was recognizing in that moment, perhaps as I'm learning, we all are attracting to us what we experience. So if I say I'm attracting this experience of disrespect, then I'm not loving myself enough. And that this exercise of loving oneself is good, but it brings up, this moment. And I'm bringing it up, perhaps it's in the shuffle of the cookies. So do you choose a cookie, or do you choose a moment of disrespect? Are they the same? Am I feeding myself disrespect by attracting this moment? Because I recognize in the last 24 hours that it was coming from more than one place. And then I started to, from out of nowhere really, contemplating disrespect that comes to classes of people. And one can say, if we are attracting to us disrespect, is the wrinkled person attracting disrespect? Is the black person attracting disrespect? Is the person without a penis attracting disrespect? And what's there about all of these people getting disrespect from corporate America, or from those who would like to be in the same camp as corporate America? And you could take a political stance and get angry about it, but what part of it is a cookie, and do I want to approach it in that way, saying that I would like to not experience this disrespect, and therefore not attract it, and therefore love myself so much that I did not experience that. But I'm not sure I can eliminate the wrinkles from my skin or the lack of a penis. I have been not given a black skin, so that's not a problem. So I'm presenting this perhaps for all of us to look at what is beyond the cookie that we're attracting, that is not a part of love of ourselves. I don't know. But it's interesting because it comes at a time when I'm looking at who are we as humanity, and who am I in this body, whom I am embodied, and what's that about? What's it about to be embodied in this moment in time? And what responsibility do I have to my humanity, to myself, to change what is not quite right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, those are big questions, and I don't know how fully I can answer them, honestly. But can we go back to what you said initially about choosing which cookie? So what I heard, and I want to loop it back to you to see how accurately I got it. When you're doing this practice or a practice like this, choosing this cookie of practicing with the event where you felt disrespect and like seeing that for what it is, or maybe this other cookie that is like more colorful or something and has sprinkles, probably tastes more to your liking, that is kind of skirting around this cookie that would be probably terrible in your mouth somehow.
Well, I would not choose either one.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
could go that way if that's your choice.
Right. Right.
My whole point of bringing up the cookie is because it was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mentioned yesterday too in two different stories at the storytelling time. So there's something about that. Choosing things of a cookie nature.
Yeah.
That I don't choose, but I do choose this other thing. Obviously, I'm looking at this person, and I just told her that how she has disrespected me, and she's looking at me with all of she keeps looking like I am now giving you my apology. I am manipulating you so that you will now love me. Sorry, I'm not buying it. You fucked up, man. And I'm not getting that look on your face. It's not making it. And but I do get that it's not your problem, it's my problem. So I love you. I love you. I love you so much that I'm not going to buy this stupid look on your face. I'm going to love you until you give me an honest connection. and you respect me, irregardless of my lack of a penis and the wrinkles on my skin. Because you flitted right away to the unwrinkled penis. I saw it. I saw it. Oh, okay. Got it.
That kind of love that you give to her in return, that sounds like what you're talking about.
That's it.
The beyond the cookie.
Beyond the
It's like way bigger than like dislike. It's like way bigger. Yeah, it's something I've been exploring a lot, especially in connection with others, people. And I will say that, like, there's something about the struggle I have. You know how I brought in the part about the mantra you can use to really, like, lay attention on your body after you say it. You say, I am loved, and then feel whatever's there. I really feel like I've found, like, the reason I started doing that, and I was saying, like, it's frustrating, things about the practice are frustrating, so I, like, kind of have to do that. Through that, I found so many mini, like, conflicts in my own mind that are, like, they look like me in conflict with me. So, like, I start to do a practice like that, or add that supplement sort of to the practice until I'm sort of back on a more steady stream of concentration or something like that. And from all those conflicts that I find, I see the ways that I am with others using those same little tools. And yeah, it's scary to uncover them. And then, like, once I'm able to be in that stream, like, be in this friendship that can just be here, like, in my body. It's really relieving because I know that conflict is there and that, like, I might be using those tools, and I probably am. And simultaneously, like, when that's all broken, like, when I throw the toolbox away, like, there's, like, a safety that I feel in myself that I feel like I can give to others that feels something like this beyond the cookie choosing thing you're talking about. It's at least, like, in that realm. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
While you gave the instructions, I had, like, this thought came up about, people I know who truly love the entire universe. They pour all of their love and energy into it.
Into what?
Into that practice
Mm-hmm.
of loving
Mm-hmm.
the universe.
Yeah.
And I know, in their view, I'm part of it. So I'm loved.
Mm.
And why isn't that enough? What's going on that you want to be loved by this person especially, right? So we're putting up our own obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
What I just said could be applicable to anybody. Anybody we can choose, I am loved, because I know these people exist and they have been doing it for thousands of years, and as a tradition. So, that's it. What else do we need? To be liberated, right? And to now do things, that express that love and help others.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Uwe. Yeah, thank you so much for being here again. And we have some announcements. Did you have one last thing?
I was saying yay in sign
Yeah.
language because I was glad to have the opportunity to share, like celebrating your discipline. with you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to get better at celebrating. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Mm.
So a few quick things to share. This is a time where